The novel, The Cigar Factory, tells the story of two women working at the cigar factory in Charleston during the workers' strike in the mid-1940s. It was a time when all races were coming together for equal pay. But the story is much more than that.
I wanted to tell a broader story than just a story of the strike. That is not necessarily that compelling. And the more research I did, it just kept expanding how, particularly in Charleston, the influence of West African culture on the language, the food, so many influences were here.
Much of that culture was the language and dialect of Charleston during that time.
Well, language is central to the story that I wanted to tell, which is these two women. This is a time when society was determined to keep them apart. And yet there were so many ways that they were similar. And for these two characters, it's their religion and also their language.
Making that dialect and language is often difficult to get across in a book. So Moore was thrilled when the book was done as a dramatic reading at Trident Technical College. But first, the characters had to be cast, and this cast came together in different ways.
How you let she be with you, you know, man, gonna let a woman talk to him like that.
We would have auditions, but a lot of it was word of mouth. I was in a jewelry store and years ago and knew, man, if I ever get to write a script from this novel, I'd love for that woman to play a part.
I met Michele on King Street, and we chatted and had some common friends. And when she wrote the story, she came back and asked me if I would be interested in doing a reading for it because of my Charleston accent. And I said, I don't know what a reading is, nor I'm not an actress. And she said, oh, it's nothing. It's very small, intimate reading, which wasn't really true, as it turned out.
The wonderful thing was these actors that we used in the reading already understood the Gullah dialect, and so it wasn't like we were having to teach them Gullah Geechee dialect because they already knew it. But more than anything, it was about making sure that it was clear so that the audience understood what they were saying.
The different dialects really made the book come to life. I think that even though most of us are from this area, we still have some differences in the dialect, and I think that really helped each character become real and just brought the whole book to life.
And by bringing this book to life, it secured a place in Piccolo Spoleto. What was it like for this group of strangers who had now become friends to perform at one of the nation's top art festivals?
I actually got emotional when I saw the film, even though we rehearsed the play and everything, but when I actually saw it, it was like I was seeing it from a different point of view. It was different. It was like I saw my mother and the people that I knew and the people that I interviewed and friends and their parents who worked here, and it was just really chilling.
For me, it's one of those etched in stone opportunities, something that you will never forget, but will always just be a part of you, something that I'll be able to talk about for many, many years to come. Even more than that, to actually be able to see someone from this community be on that stage and in the capacity of reading a stage performance from a book that's all centered around where I live. It's awesome.
And this group of diverse so-called actors now have an indelible bond, just like the characters in the book.